His wedding ring fell to the hardwood floor. I heard the soft metallic clink echo through the silence of our bedroom, the same bedroom where I had just finished pulling my underwear back on after sleeping with another man. Nathan stood by the door. His face, pale, his mouth slightly open. He had seen it all. Me. Damon. The sweat still drying on our bodies. His voice cracked as he whispered, "Why?" I could not answer him. Because the truth would have crushed both of us. I wanted it. I enjoyed it. And I was going to do it again. Hey everyone, thank you so much for clicking on this video. To all my loyal subscribers, your support has meant everything to me. You are the reason I keep sharing these raw, real, and sometimes painful stories. And if you are new or just watching but have not subscribed yet, I want to say a big thank you too. I cannot wait for you to hit that subscribe button. It is the fuel that powers this channel. Please do not forget to leave a comment and share your thoughts after watching. I would love to know what you think about this shocking story. Now, let us get into it. My name is Emma Grayson. I live in a quiet suburb of North Carolina with my husband, Nathan, and our 2 daughters, Chloe and Madison. Nathan and I had been married for 8 years when the first betrayal happened. From the outside, we looked like the perfect couple: 2 careers, a 3-bedroom house with a picket fence, family barbecues, and matching Christmas pajamas. But on the inside, we were growing apart, slowly, silently. We no longer kissed just because. We scheduled sex. We talked more about the girls' lunch schedules than about our feelings. And then came Damon, my personal trainer at the local gym. Damon was nothing like Nathan. He was tall, ripped, cocky, and incredibly flirtatious. At first, I thought it was just harmless attention. A compliment here, a touch on my lower back there, long looks in the mirror while I did squats. He made me feel wanted, seen. Like a woman again, not just a mother or a wife. One rainy Thursday afternoon, it happened. I told Nathan I had a late client meeting. But I went to the gym instead. Damon and I ended up in the sauna room. The gym was nearly empty due to the storm. It started with a kiss that felt like lightning in my veins. Within minutes, my sports bra was off, and Damon had me pinned against the wooden wall. I could still feel the sting of heat on my thighs, the sound of his breath in my ear. It was reckless and raw. And I wanted more. It did not stop there. We continued for weeks: storage rooms, my car, even once in the bathroom at a restaurant while Nathan and the girls waited outside. Each time I told myself it would be the last. But Damon was a drug, and I was already deep in the high. The night Nathan found out, I was careless. Too careless. He came home early from a canceled business trip. He never called. He wanted to surprise me. He brought flowers. And he walked into our bedroom and saw my legs wrapped around another man's waist. On our bed. Where we had conceived Chloe. Where we had once whispered vows under soft candlelight. Nathan did not yell. He did not throw anything. He just stared. His mouth opened once, but no words came out. Then he dropped the flowers. And the ring. The silence that followed felt louder than any scream. I remember grabbing my robe. Damon slipped out of the house like the coward he was. I tried to speak, but there were no words. What could I say? That I was bored? That I missed being touched with urgency? That I felt like I was fading in my own life? Nathan slept in his truck that night. Then in the guest room for 2 weeks. He did not speak to me unless it was about the kids. I expected him to serve me divorce papers. I would have deserved them. But he did not. One cold Sunday morning, he walked into the kitchen while I was making pancakes. He looked broken, hollow-eyed, gaunt, like sleep had not visited him in days. He said, "I still love you." I do not know why, but I do. Then he forgave me. He held me. He cried into my shoulder. And he told me he wanted us to start over. I promised I would never cheat again. I said all the right things. I cried. I even cut ties with Damon and switched gyms. But here is the truth I never told him. I never stopped craving that feeling, the thrill, the danger, the validation. Damon may have been out of the picture. But the part of me that wanted to be reckless, worshipped, and wild? That part was still alive. And within 3 months, I found someone new. Someone who would make me forget the guilt for just a little while. His name was Marcus, and he was about to become the second secret I would bury inside my marriage. There was something about married men. Maybe it was the way they talked. Low, careful, deliberate. Maybe it was the look in their eyes, like they knew what was at stake. Like I did. Maybe it was just the forbidden fruit syndrome, dressed in a suit and tie. Either way, Marcus walked into my life like a match tossed into dry grass, and I let myself burn. I met him at work. I worked in an interior design firm in Charlotte. Marcus came in as a client with his wife, Elise, to remodel their lake house. He was tall, smooth-talking, with a sprinkle of gray in his beard and a Rolex that he never bragged about. Elise was the kind of woman who always wore pearl earrings, even when looking at wall swatches. I knew her type, polished, proper, and tightly wound. But Marcus? His eyes followed me. He lingered when Elise left the room. He complimented me in ways no man should compliment a married woman, not unless he was aiming to cross a line. And I let him. At first, it was nothing more than texting, "Great meeting today," followed by a winking emoji. Then came the after-hours phone calls under the pretense of last-minute design decisions. I knew exactly what we were doing. And I did not care. Nathan had forgiven me, yes. But something inside me felt unfinished. He was kind. Too kind. He was trying so hard to fix what I had broken, but I felt no sparks, no fire. Just the weight of guilt, and the boredom of trying to pretend I was someone I was not anymore. Marcus offered escape. Adventure. Sin wrapped in cologne and expensive leather shoes. Our first encounter happened at the lake house, the same one I was designing. Elise was out of town. He offered to show me the progress. He poured wine. I wore a black pencil skirt, tighter than usual, and heels that clicked too loud on the hardwood floor. By the time we reached the upstairs master bedroom, I was already unbuttoning my blouse. We did not talk. We did not need to. It was raw and dirty. He pulled my hair. I bit his shoulder to stop myself from moaning too loud. And when it was over, we laughed like two kids who had just gotten away with something wicked. That day marked the beginning of my second betrayal. It became our routine. Hotels. Lunch breaks. Weekend errands that turned into sweaty afternoons between white hotel sheets. He never promised me anything. I never asked. It was not love. It was not even emotional. It was need. A release. A reckless way to fill the void of a marriage I had already shattered. Nathan started noticing again. At first, it was subtle. He would ask, "Why are you always working late?" I gave vague answers. He pretended to believe me. Then came the night he found my second phone. Yes, I had bought a burner phone. How cliché. It was in my gym bag, vibrating during dinner. I excused myself and forgot to zip it back up. He found it while throwing out the trash and brought it inside. I came out of the bathroom and saw him sitting at the edge of our bed. The phone was in his hand. His face looked calm, too calm. Like a man who had already drowned and stopped fighting the current. He asked, "Who is Marcus?" I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. I could see his heart cracking, the same way it had months ago. I expected yelling. Cursing. Maybe even for him to grab his things and leave. But instead, he stood up, gently placed the phone on the dresser, and walked out of the room. The sound of our front door closing behind him made me want to scream. He did not come back that night. Or the next. He sent a message through Chloe's iPad. Tell your mother I am safe. I just need space. I stayed up for 3 nights straight. Pacing. Crying. Staring at my reflection and seeing a woman I barely recognized anymore. I told Marcus we had to stop. He did not argue. Married men rarely do when things get complicated. He faded out like smoke. But Nathan? He did not fade. He came back, not for me, but for the girls. He slept in the guest room again. We functioned like distant roommates sharing bills and parenting duties. One night, I knocked on his door. He let me in, but did not speak. I sat on the edge of the bed and begged. I cried. I told him I would change. That I needed help. That I would go to therapy, church, whatever he wanted. He looked at me, and I will never forget what he said. You broke something in me, twice. I forgave you the first time because I thought you were lost. Now I realize you are just empty. That silence between us returned. But it was colder now. Colder than before. Weeks passed. Nathan barely looked at me. I noticed his clothes changing, newer jeans, fitted shirts, a different cologne. At first, I thought he was trying to rediscover himself. Maybe heal. Then came the evening when I picked up Chloe from soccer practice early. I parked behind a black SUV near the field. It was the same make and color as Nathan's. I walked past it, then paused. Through the windshield, I saw 2 silhouettes. One was Nathan. The other, a woman. They were kissing. I froze. It was slow, intimate, not lustful like mine had been. His hand cupped her cheek. She smiled as she touched his chest. And I realized something brutal. He had found what I kept chasing. He had found connection, peace, maybe even love. And he had found it without me. For the first time, I felt what he must have felt, that night he saw Damon, and the night he found the burner phone. Except now, he was not broken anymore. I was. I drove home shaking. I poured a glass of wine. Then another. Then 2 more. By the time Nathan walked through the door with Chloe, I was on the floor, drunk, mascara streaked, sobbing. He picked up our daughter and told her to go to her room. Then he looked at me and said, "You do not get to be the victim now, Emma." And he walked away. Again. I used to think the worst feeling in the world was being betrayed. I was wrong. The worst feeling is realizing you are the betrayer, and that there is nothing left to betray, because the person you once destroyed is finally done, and you are standing alone in the ashes you created. Nathan moved out a week after the night he found me drunk on the kitchen floor. No announcement. No loud conversation. No final, "I told you so." Just an early Saturday morning when I walked into the kitchen and saw the note. "Do not tell the girls anything yet. We will sit them down together. I am getting a place nearby. I will pick up my things next weekend. This is not about revenge. This is about peace. N." I remember sitting at the kitchen table with that note in my hand. And for the first time since the night he caught me with Damon, I truly felt fear. This was not a fight. This was not a storm. This was a man who had finally stepped out of the rain and decided he deserved the sun. The girls took it harder than I expected. Chloe was angry. Madison cried herself to sleep for a week straight. Nathan explained the separation in the most neutral way possible. He never once blamed me, not out loud. But I could see it in their eyes. My daughters knew. They felt it in the cracks between my fake smiles and Nathan's quiet sadness. Marcus had stopped calling. Damon was long gone. And now I was alone, surrounded by memories and empty walls that echoed with what-ifs. I tried to distract myself. Therapy. Journaling. Even went back to church, sat in the back pew, cried through hymns, begged God for something I could not even define. One rainy afternoon, while organizing boxes Nathan had left behind, I found something I was not supposed to see. A small, leather-bound notebook. It was tucked beneath some folded shirts in the guest room closet. At first, I hesitated. But curiosity is a cruel thing. Inside, I found dated entries. Handwritten. Some angry. Some heartbreakingly soft. It was Nathan's journal. I should have stopped reading. But I did not. The first entry was from the night he caught me with Damon. She looked like a stranger. Same body. Same face. But the woman I married was gone. I wanted to scream, but the silence felt louder. I am not sure I will ever unsee what I saw tonight. I turned the page. I forgave her today. I do not know if it was bravery or stupidity. But I want my daughters to see a man who tries. Even when it hurts. Another page. She is pulling away again. Same patterns. Same late nights. Different perfume. I am breaking. Quietly this time. Then the twist came. A final entry, dated 3 months before he moved out. I met someone. Her name is Layla. She is kind. Not flashy. She listens. I did not go looking for her, but I also did not stop her. I have not touched her. Not yet. But I think I will. And when I do, it will not be out of revenge. It will be out of permission. Permission Emma gave me the second time she looked me in the eye and lied. That was the day I realized Nathan had not just left me, he had outgrown me. He did not scream. He did not cheat to get even. He waited. And when it no longer made sense to suffer, he left. I was the hurricane. He was the home I destroyed. After reading the journal, I sat in the closet for hours, sobbing. Not because he had moved on. But because he waited so long for me to change. And I never did. I tried to fix things. Sent texts. Emails. Left long voice messages. Asked him to come to one therapy session. Just one. He never responded. Eventually, I found out through a mutual friend that he and Layla had started dating openly. The girls liked her. She was a teacher. Sweet. Soft-spoken. Everything I used to be, before I became hungry for attention and deaf to my conscience. The house started to feel smaller without Nathan. Every corner reminded me of what I had broken. The bed felt bigger. The nights felt longer. And my reflection in the mirror looked like someone who had traded love for lust, and ended up with nothing. One evening, I ran into Damon at a grocery store. He looked older. Tired. He was with a woman, probably his new mistake. He barely looked at me. And just like that, I realized something painful. Even my sins had moved on from me. I never told Nathan about the journal. Never told him I read it. I think he knew. On what would have been our 10th wedding anniversary, I wrote him a letter. I never sent it. I will not read all of it here, but I will tell you the final paragraph. You forgave me when I was at my worst. And I broke you again. You loved me past logic. And I repaid you with secrets and betrayal. I thought I wanted freedom, but all I did was run from myself. You were never the problem, Nathan. I was. And I will carry that until the end of my life. I wish I could end this story with a hopeful twist. That Nathan came back. That I changed. That we rebuilt. But not all stories end with redemption. Some end with a woman staring at an empty side of the bed. Whispering. He forgave me. And I did it again. And by the time I realized what I lost, he was already gone.